evening. My name is Sarah Allen. Today is my birthday. I'm 25 years old, and my presentation starts whenever I was 14. So, just imagine you're 14 years old. Your parents kick you out because you got pregnant. They send you to a maternity home to live, to have your baby. You got kicked out of your Christian school where you just started 3 months before. You're pregnant, you got to live in the maternity home, and then 3 months later after that, you miscarry your baby and you get kicked out of the maternity home. Then your parents say you have to have a DNC, which is essentially a pretty traumatic surgery where you, it's just a pretty traumatic surgery that no 14-year-old should have, but a 14-year-old shouldn't have a baby anyways. So this is where I lived. This is the maternity home. It's actually in Keithville. And I was there for about 2 months. So then I got sent to the children's home in Monroe, and my parents said after my surgery that I'd have to stay there because my mom couldn't control me. So I lived at the children's home. So these are the statistics on foster children. There's 3,459 children in the foster care system in Louisiana right now. Chances are you know someone in the foster care system or that lived at the children's home and you just don't know it, or you know them and you don't know that they used to live in the children's home. So whenever you go visit the children's home, there's different cottages. So I lived in Love Cottage. I think there's 5 different cottages. Love, Hope, Peace. There's different rules. There's different parents for each cottage. We all had responsibilities at our cottage. There was 5 or 6 girls, including myself. We had 30 minutes of computer time, and if you typed on the computer, the cottage dad could read everything you typed. Even if you backspaced and didn't send it, he could see everything that you typed. We could have a job whenever we turned 15, but if our parents still have legal rights to us, they get to pick and choose where, if we had a cell phone, what we did in our spare time, if we had any hobbies or anything. So that's what I did. Was I had a job at 15 to just get out of the children's home to get free time for myself. Now you understand why certain kids live there. So I clarified with everyone that I used to live with. They said it's okay. This is online. You can get it on public domain. This is the children's home newsletter. This is Destiny. She lived with me. She'd been there since she was 2, and her brother was adopted and she wasn't. So whenever I lived there, she was 11, and she stayed there until she turned 18. So her mom never came back and got her, but her brother was adopted. Okay, so there was a family of 4 kids, and the oldest one was taking care of the other 3, and I lived with 2 of the sisters. So they shared a room. We each had our own separate rooms, but the 2 sisters shared a room. They'd been there since they were 5, and the oldest one was 13, and the rest of them were 5. The ones that I lived with was 5 and 3. So then there was another girl, and she lived there since she was 6. Her mom gave her up. She transitioned and decided she didn't want to be a mom anymore, so she just gave up her kid, and she never saw her again. This is my story. You can get it online. So for instance, like we already talked about, I miscarried at 14, and my parents sent me there, and I was staying there until I was 17 and a half, but my parents got to say in everything I did. So I technically lived there for 3.5 years, but I wasn't in foster care, but they still have rights over what I did. So certain, like, for instance, the 2 girls that I lived with, the parents could come back and get the kids on weekends, and then they would like say, "Okay, see you at Thanksgiving." And yeah, so I was one of the lucky ones because my parents came and visited every 2 weeks. They're pretty strict about rules for going to church. There was a boy, we didn't live with boys. We didn't live with opposite genders, so there was a boy across the way that he was Catholic, so his parents didn't want him to go to Baptist school or Baptist churches, so he didn't have to go, but the rest of us did. They were concerned about safety. I mean, they took care of us. I mean, there's some things that I wish that I would have been able to do, like have a normal childhood, but I kind of gave that up getting pregnant at 14, so. But we couldn't have pets. We couldn't go to, I mean, for our parents, okay, we could go to prom, but we couldn't stay out late. So we couldn't go without a company. We couldn't go unaccompanied. But there's lots of things that I'm thankful for the children's home, safety. Christmas was always great, and they always took care of us and fed us well. So.